Words of the day is success mindset. This is Mindset Saturday. I am so happy and honored to have Leslie with us again today.
Thank you.
Leslie's got a lot of great things coming up, and she'll share those with you as the program progresses.
Mhm.
We depend and really rely on your comments and participation to direct our thoughts and our takeaways that we can somehow curate and tailor to your needs today. With that said, Leslie, share with the audience a little bit of an update and basically what your first thoughts are on success mindset, because I know that's a big part of what you are out there supporting people with. So, Leslie,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I guess the chat is open
it's open.
because I don't see anything yet. Maybe there's nobody here.
Nobody here.
Hi, everybody.
I just thought you
Nobody.
can say,
Are you sure we're
oh,
streaming?
you bet. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, as you probably know, or you may not know, Donald has revised, modified, reshaped, up leveled, uplifted his show after a year to designate each day as a specific topic. And it's really, I've enjoyed it this week because if I want to learn best practices in LinkedIn, I can hop on one day. If I want to look at coaching, I can hop in another day, right? Whatever it is. And hey, Christine, hey, Carl, you are here. Okay, great. I thought it was just Dawn and I
Well,
this
now
morning.
we got to watch what we say since there's people here.
That's true. We have to watch what we say. Well, I haven't said anything that I wouldn't say with 100
No,
people.
that was a joke. But anyway, just
Okay.
to
Oh,
update you, we have 4 comments already. So, what I'll say is there's always a lag. So
yeah,
you
yeah.
have to wait. And there's comments that come in after it's over. So, Leslie, not to interrupt.
Even though you did, but you notice how diplomatically, and we're very good with each other
Yeah,
because we both interrupt
well,
each other and we create the space to have a dialogue. So, okay, so Saturdays are going to be mindset, and there will be times when Catherine Chadwick will join us when she's available. And on the 12th of December, just so you know, Catherine and I are doing a project on reinvention using visualization.
okay.
It's going to be a workshop on Zoom and it'll be complimentary. We actually got the idea right here, Dawn. Remember when we did reinvention?
Mm-hmm.
Right? We had such a phenomenal exchange that day, and she and I work very similarly. She's knows more about one area and I know more about the other, but we have a lot of common areas, so we'll invite you to that. And the first thing I will say about success mindset, so mindset is a state, let me just say, mindset, if you will, is a state of being, right? It's your attitude. Your attitude right now is 3 things, not one.
Mm-hmm.
It's what you're thinking, and then what you're feeling about what you're thinking, and then the actions you're taking. To have a success mindset, the first thing I'll throw out there to all you wonderful people and to Don is that you have to exchange it for your current mindset of lack. That sounds real easy, but only one mindset, one state of being, one presence in any given moment, right? You only get one. So the question is that what is your mindset? How do you evaluate what kind of a mindset you have? And then what is it that you could do to basically overwrite or overlay your existing mindset, which is typically based on lack, fear of criticism. There's 6 basic fears, right? So that's the trick. If you don't have a success mindset, you can build one. And a success mindset is also a wealth mindset, and wealth being success, love, happiness. So that's how I would kind of roll this out. And I'm really interested in what you think, Don. and what the audience thinks about this, that you have a mindset, you evaluate what it is. It's rarely success or abundant, right? It's usually not the mindset we prefer, but there is actually a way to create a success or a wealth mindset that overwrites the old one.
Perfect. We could almost stop there, but we won't.
Okay.
So this is everything is gravy from here on in. So let's
Okay.
go to our audience. I really want to pay special attention to Carl Dakin. Carl's one of the first and in our collaboration group, and is really starting to make huge progress. Just to give you an example, we discussed newsletters on our group, Leslie, and the next day Carl did his newsletter, and now he's doubled his subscriptions already in a day, and is doing a newsletter, and it takes minutes. So with that said, what are you so close to doing, but you lack the knowledge, the skill set, or in what we're talking about, success mindset, the confidence and the belief in your own success by taking action on it? Most people are ready if someone calls, if the door opens, right? They're available for success. How many people are creating it instead of trying to meet it or have it come to you?
Great point.
Right? Oh, thank you. And
You're welcome.
that's weird.
I was waiting to everybody. People are coming into the audience, so I'm waving
I
at
was
them.
going to go there, and then I got off because we got
Okay.
on to Carl. So anyways, look at Carl's
Yeah.
poll.
Well, he has a good question.
Yeah,
Carl actually has a really good
Okay,
question.
we're going to go right there once we get through.
Okay.
Christine's here. Christine was here yesterday. Everybody should know Christine. Really, she's a lovely person, has a success mindset, does so much for so many, and is still looking to do more. So congratulations, Christine. Leanne is here. Leanna. Okay, lots of letters. And great to see you. Good morning. And a success mindset starts with a good morning, right? And it only gets better from there. Christine is here. Haha. Great to see you. Mirjana from Serbia. You know, I don't know what time it is out there, but it's great to have you. Great to see you.
It's probably supper time there.
Yeah, I would think somewhere around that. What is success? Well, that's key. And maybe Paul can answer that for us. And Paul's here. I haven't seen Paul in a while. Good to see you, Paul. He calls me grandpa out of reverence, not out of age. Grateful to be here to learn and support you both. Don't you love when Leslie laughs? You should wait until she sings. It's all,
Oh my God.
not maybe today. It's all about the miracle mentality for me. Maybe. But anyways, Leslie has lots of talents.
You want me to answer Mirjana's question with one sentence?
Sure, please.
I can say what it is for me.
Sure.
It's having a mindset every day of wealth, health, and happiness. That it isn't a goal to have wealth, health, and happiness, but it's a state of being. So that's what success is. What on every day can I manage my emotions and my thoughts so that I feel and I'm living wealth, health, and happiness?
Well, how does that match up with the reality every day of health, wealth, and happiness?
It's a choice and it's perspective. It is a choice, right? Because in every failure, there is learning. There's always a lesson. If, you know, on the other side of what seems to not be working, right? So it's always there. And you must train your conscious mind to remind yourself of that. And the more that you do that, when something, here's a quick example. So when I go to the mall at Christmas time, right, I want a space up close and it's a madhouse there. I hate driving around, and I'm sure you all know this feeling, right? So when I get in my car, which is 45 minutes away, I begin to visualize an empty space there. Oh, I see it. I see two actually right next to the entrance. I see myself pulling in. And so for about 45 minutes, I'm visualizing, not all the time, I'm driving too. Now, in most instances, the space is there,
Mhm.
right? Because this is the miracle mindset, I suspect, the miracle mentality that Paul has just fallen into. Paul is learning all these new things. And when I hear him, right, I already know what he's talking about, but they're fresh and new for him. So they become fresh and new for me. Okay, so here's the point here. There is a point.
Short.
So when I get there, yeah, did I say it? No, the other
You
one was
said you were
short.
going to be short. So you
Okay.
got more
So,
time.
okay. So if the space is not there, then I say intentionally and purposely, that other person deserved it. It was their turn. They visualized stronger. I hand it over to them rather than, well, damn, I visualized all the way up here. A little Rosanna Dana. Okay. I'm all the way up here and there was no space for me. Right. But the space was meant for someone else.
For sure. Well, here's something that goes along with that. When you wonder when people go to the gym, why they spend so much time trying to get the front space when they're there to exercise anyways, right?
That's true.
I mean, why
That's
not
true.
park at the end of the thing?
Just let them wait till March, then the place will be empty. So in January, it's that way, right? You want to be up there first and everything, and you're tapping your foot because everybody is taking too long on the machines and they didn't wipe it off. You're there for hours. You could be doing better things. In February, oh, the place thins out. You can get to your machine. You even meet people next to you, have a lovely conversation. You're not pushing to the front. By March, it's a ghost town. Right. You're all by yourself. There's nobody to talk to because that's about how long people will
Well,
stick
and if
with
you
that.
tie that into a success mindset, what it looks is you have to have the right time expectation for your mindset, right?
That's one
If you
thing.
go to the
Absolutely.
gym for a month and you join for a year, you haven't really helped yourself.
No, but you haven't. The problem here is pretty simple. You have to you have to have a big reason why you're at the gym. You can buy the membership, you can throw money at things. Oh, well, if I pay this money, I'll have a year's membership and I'll get in shape. A lot of people do that, and I've done that myself. Well, if I just have the money for it, I'll pay for it. But the reality is the why, the reason that you're there is not compelling enough to keep you motivated all year.
Well,
So you could break it up into 3 months.
well, and
and
maybe the key element is motivation, because when you join,
it is.
you're 100% motivated. I'm going to lose 20 pounds. I'm going to do a bunch of stuff. Then you find there's work. The joining was the easy. Maybe the writing a check was a little harder, but then the doing is where it all gets. Now we're going to move on to Carl.
Well, go back to Carl's
right.
question. There we go. That's what I was waiting for.
One of fear or anticipation of failure. Let's come back to that because we're falling behind. Mirjana, it is 5 p.m., just in time for dinner. Enjoy. So nice to see you. Elizabeth is here. I see Elizabeth was on your show, Leslie, or coming up, or.
Yeah, well, no, it was quite by accident. One of those things. I didn't have a co-host. She said, I got a really good story about Think and Grow Rich. I said, why don't you come on camera with me? And she did.
Well,
and I applaud that because, I know she was nervous. It's nerve-wracking to just pop in like with no notice, right? And she did a wonderful job.
Well, that's great. Now, I noticed it. And here's the thing. I've been on Paul's shows and, Paul, I don't know what shows you got going on. You're welcome to put the links in. But I know he had a Friday show, had something Wednesday, did something on a Thursday. I know Paul's work with Leslie, Leslie's work with Paul. So what happens is you get into syndication here, right? Someone sees you somewhere else and they want you for a guest there. And that's how you get seen. That's how you build your personal brand, because you get your voice and an ability to share it in a way that isn't salesy, or you got 30 seconds to say what you got to say, you get a chance to learn people, relationships before you have to connect with them or do something. So what is Elizabeth?
As it relates to mindset, it's the practice.
Oh, for sure.
So yeah, so it's repetition is how you build confidence. It's how you achieve consistently. But I really want to go to Carl's question
Okay,
because it's the first real question.
You'll be the first one to answer it when it gets there. Carl, my soul brother, Neil Falora says survival is the norm and success is unnatural. That's great. Neil Falora. I used to believe that people are more afraid of success than failure until John Gordon explained to me people aren't afraid of success. And what he goes on to say, they are afraid of failure while striving for success. Elizabeth says, Ashif, Ashif, I see in the comments, but you're not showing up on the screen here. So what they tell you to do is go to your settings and see if they're public, because also your picture doesn't always show. So anyways, just a tip. Merjana says, by who? See, we're so far along, I don't even know. Who decides who deserves? Paul comes back. Grandpa, have you read the book Greatness Mindset by Lewis Howes? There's so many books. We were talking about this yesterday. I had a great show with Jeffrey Lackey and another guy, John Spence. Unbelievable. Actually, John is 30 miles from Bob Berg, and they intersect for the last 20, 30 years. He's doing courses. Great guy. Somebody you want to know. But no, and they came up with their favorite 3 books. So it was nice everybody got to share. Mindset, please, Leslie. So we're going to get to that. But one thing I want to add to mindset and your question. So you got two segments coming. I had a wonderful coffee chat with Elizabeth. Great. Well, getting back to the first Carl question, which is, why is the default mindset one of fear or anticipation of failure? Leslie, your turn.
Who the hell knows?
Oh, okay, good.
I'm kidding. This is about mindset. So for me, and I'm a success mindset. So that's really what, I'm most interested in, clarifying things and people seeing insights. So that's why this is such a good question.
Okay.
All right. So you only have one mindset at a time, and nature abhors a vacuum. It isn't as though your mind stays open until you can drop in a success or wealth mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Your fear, the default mindset, is fear based on what you believe and what's in your subconscious. So typically, there are 6 basic fears, and they're in the subconscious. They're a very low vibration. They're very strong. And the conscious mind that is not prepared for success or wealth will be overridden by these old beliefs. Now, just so you know that there are 6 basic fears. So it isn't just poverty. It's also fear of criticism. I don't want to get up on stage. It's fear of ill health. It's fear of loss of love. It's fear of old age. It's fear of death. So at any time throughout our lives, those fears are extremely strong. And the 2 top ones, the ones that really stop most of my clients where I can help them, and I'd love to hear what the audience says, is the fear of criticism. What are other people going to think of me? Mm-hmm. Right? And fear of poverty. I don't have enough money. There is no abundance for me. Now, if that is your default mindset, doesn't mean you're always 100% there. However, you actually can, with your intellect, outweigh and create new beliefs so that the next time you get a wild idea over in your subconscious, every goal that you achieve over time that you didn't know how to do and you did it builds a new belief in your ability and to do things you didn't know, which disproves the old belief. Well, I can't do it. I'm not the one. That's the default. So one must put into practice, if you will, and I love Neil's. So let me just bring Neil in here just for a second. So Neil has this thing that created a visualization for me. He calls it coming to center. And really, that's the first step. Can you, I see a seesaw. It's a big green seesaw, and it's 12 inches wide and 4 inches thick. Do you remember those? And you could get a good splinter when you were little if you weren't careful. Okay, so on one end of the seesaw, if you will, are all your negative beliefs. They're true.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, but you got them through repetition. Your conscious mind allowed them through repetition to get there where you believe it. So that's your default. However, because we have conscious awareness, the work that I do is creating new beliefs that also end up in your subconscious, so that the next time you go to do something, you don't hear that first comment, well, Leslie, you're not really the one. Remember when you failed? Because you've come to center, Neil. I hope you like this. You're in the middle of the seesaw.
Neil, where is
And now you can choose. This is how you begin to build a success or wealth mindset, because it's before you react. It's before you lose your cool, because the subconscious is not thinking. It is automatic, repeated behaviors, and it's based on all these negative beliefs. So in order to create a new default, since nature abhors a vacuum, you must come to center so that you can choose your conscious mind or your conscious thought, which is, and outweigh the old one and say, you know what? I'm not losing my cool here. I'm going to keep quiet. But keep in mind, you can also choose to lose your cool. At least here, you begin to wrestle your default mindset, your beliefs, to disprove them, because they're not true. Well, they are for you, but they're 7-year-olds' beliefs, right? They're the decision you made when you were highly mortified in class, and the teacher embarrassed you or you were very embarrassed and humiliated. Somebody said something. You're standing up in the class, fighting back tears, and kids are laughing at you. And what you say to yourself, that's tabula rasa. It's like a shock. It creates a brand new belief. I'll never get up in front of these people and speak. And to this day, if you speak to someone who really has this issue still, if you ask them to speak with you, they can get nauseous. They have a physical reaction because all their lives they've been afraid of what will people think of me because of that incident. The end.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me answer that for Carl. Carl, I
Sure,
hope
and
that
I
answered.
even gave you more time without lesson.
I know. Thank you so much. I didn't hear the timer go off.
No. I put it off to the side. You had open time. So
Thank you.
anyways, what I want to pivot to is success mindset. So if we just look at the 3 words, the last word is set.
Well, it's 2 words. Okay, got it. I got
3
it.
words.
Mhm.
So the last word is set, which means that you have the ability to program and maintain, right? It's not something you got to go catch a new fish every day. You just got to hold on to the same one, right?
It sticks. It starts to stick.
Well,
so you can start another
and
one.
to your point, it gets more comfortable the more you do it. So any fear you have gets replaced by reality, because it could have been the opposite. You could have been standing up in front of a class. They could have been applauding you, and they could have been doing all these things to compliment you. And you would probably say, when do I do this again?
Right.
So first experience is more impactful when you're either new, and you could be new through age or just through an experience, like maybe.
These are originating incidents, by the way, in transformational technology. This is the key to why we believe the key to why we believe what we do is because we heard it.
That's right. And if you can shift audiences, maybe you and your message aren't the problem. It's who you're delivering it to. So if you got a family that's not supportive, right? That criticizes you, tells you you're not good enough. And why didn't you get an A? What's a B? You could have done better. That makes a difference on how you look at yourself and then how you communicate with those people, because they've already told you how they view you, and anything you do is going to get viewed the same way if they're real supportive. If everything you do, they encourage you and reward you and support you, you're going to be more sharing.
The default, though, the default is being criticized.
Yeah, but knowing that it's not your fault, it's the person who criticized you.
That's where it takes time. You don't know that initially. Your feelings are hurt.
Yeah, fine.
Right.
But anyways, getting back to the 3 words. So anyways,
Yes.
set is what you can maintain, develop, maintain, practice. And success really is determined by application, right? You could have a successful mindset, but it's not very successful if nothing ever happens that's success for you, right?
Well, what is success for you then?
Well, that's the key. So that's what we have to do on this show, is we're moving more commercial. And what I mean by commercial is, how can people take information and apply it by doing something with whatever they're doing something with? How do we get people to move to the next step or the next level? So a question to you, Leslie, is how are you using your mindset to a specific area like live streaming or LinkedIn in the way, you produce more courses, write a book, share books you have? I mean, you've got a wealth of experience and success. And how do you get that out in a way that results in you believing in a success mindset? So it's not how much,
Yes.
It could be how much money you made, how many people you helped, how many books you sold, whatever it is. So how are you doing this? Because in order to do it, somehow you got to sustain yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I do do it. I mean, I do it.
Well, tell people what you do.
I will tell them,
because I know you want an opportunity to share more of what you're doing, and not because at this point it's not self-promotion or salesy, because everybody knows, trusts, and like you if they can. And by now, if they can't, nothing is going to change it. But the reason I say that is somebody wants to say, well, how do I get more of personalized Leslie? Right?
Oh, well, okay.
On a show of yours or mine or blah, blah, blah. Leslie.
Okay. So I give away a lot of free information, right, that people intellectually understand, and I do it repetitively. But the work that I do is the process to create a new belief. I do it in 90 days over the last 15 years with my hybrid program, which includes the principles of success, application of them, also universal law, a little quantum physics, metaphysics. So what happens effectively is I make sure, I've done it over 15 years. For me, it's 60 business quarters. I have clients and I do everything in 12 weeks, because over 60 quarters and 500 people who have 500 goals set and achieved in 12 weeks based on the laws of achievement, and they didn't know how. So in order to stay motivated to the end, right, for 90 days is what we do. And you can have big philanthropic goals, but 90 days is about as long as we'll stay motivated based on a definite purpose and our desire for it. Once we complete that, we now have a new belief, right, that sits with all the old other ones. And it's done systematically. So imagine if you're a client and you worked with me for 5 years, you had 20 major 12-week goals that hooked on to each other. Now, what happens with that is that it's not haphazard. So it isn't like, oh, I have a poverty mindset. I want to make more money. That's where I'm really going. I have a lot of good reasons why I want to make more money. I want to give back, etc. So you got a compelling reason to make more money, right? Okay. So you don't know how. So you're going to have fear. So the purpose the way you stay focused the 90 days is to make sure that your reason is compelling. The fear is natural. So, one of the things you can do when you try to do something new you haven't done before, and you're having that internal conversation that, like, oh my God, I don't think I can do this, let someone else do it, right? When you do it and then you achieve it, you've now disproven that. You've created a brand new belief, right? So, but you have to be willing to practice and do the work. And most of us, the biggest thing that's missing for all of us, at least all my clients that I've noticed, and this is what we first teach, is you've got to have focus and concentration. And we are a world of diminished focus and concentration. No wonder we live in a world, right, that provides us with tremendous opportunities. It's so exciting. Yes. So what you learn when you work with me is how to get to center. Thank you, Neil, again. And to be in a place where you can choose. Am I going to follow that shitty goal? Excuse me, that bad goal? Or am I going to let it go and use my reason, right, to be more diplomatic? That's what you do when you set a goal. Every other day, you're working on your goal and you're applying these principles and you're watching the miracles show up. Listen, everyday miracles are here. They're here all the time, and you're the source of them. Imagine this, that you are the one who causes your results by how you feel about yourself and the world. So your results will match what you believe. So it's critical. If you want positive, wonderful results, you must do this work, which is not difficult, and create new beliefs. Those old ones have been running the show program for decades.
Well, and I think that's terrific.
Did you notice how I stopped right
Well,
in a perfect?
when I get like this, yeah.
I didn't see that.
It happened naturally, subconsciously.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So, well, what I'm curious, and I think that these broadcasts will start to illuminate, is more of the individual's thinking and strategy on how they get their word out. And I know, like, you've got Think and Grow Rich, Mind Over Matter, right? And then
that's about it for now. I got this. And by the way, there is something fun happened Wednesday, if I can share.
Sure.
So I was selected for Conversations, which is a TEDx type of presentation via Zoom, sponsored by 360 Business Catalyst. Wonderful organization. This is their second one. Now, this is a really interesting session, and these are the people are bringing the best of their work, and I chose unbundling beliefs. My uncle Irving was the lead attorney in 1969 in the IBM antitrust suit brought by the US government. And there was unbundling, because if you remember, IBM was saying, well, you got to use our software with our hardware. And then that blew up. I'm going to tell the story in about 30 minutes of the kernel, the core of how you get to belief, how you recreate belief, how did it happen, and what is there to do. And I'm doing it at a very basic level. I've never done this before. So it's Wednesday. It's all day, but I'm on it too, to 2:45, and there's a break. There are 6 speakers. So if you love this work, I mean, when you work with me, you learn all of this, right? You know all of this. My clients know these things, and they are happy, healthy, and wealthy every day. And if they're not, they know how to get there. They are a match for what they want. They're a vibrational match for whatever they want. If they want more money, they continue learning, and they're now a vibrational match for that. So they can enjoy it. It's not like they get the lottery and they're down here on a very low level of awareness. They don't know what to do with this up here. It's a disaster.
Well, I think what you make up is a great point, and feel free to put the links or the information in the comments on this post. So if you want to go back
Thank
to
you.
the post, see
Mhm.
comments. If anybody's got something to share that is beneficial and worthwhile to others, feel free to do the same, because it's really motivating people to see success after they've taken an action. And if you don't put a link in, if you don't tell people about it, they're not going to know. And
Well, get permission
well,
first
yeah,
of all
well,
before you do it,
anybody,
because
you're
we don't
right,
want to promo.
you get in a lot of trouble when you start putting links in people's posts as
Yeah.
comments, because
Yeah.
you're kind of what do you call that when you're sitting on,
It's hijacking.
yeah, when you're sitting on somebody's land, right? Whatever they
It's hijacking or squatting.
squatting, right?
Thank you.
You know, someone went to the gym, you got the muscles. That's how it usually works. So anyway,
Hey, look what Carl said. Do we have any more comments? So anyway, that's how you do it, folks. You can come and learn more about beliefs. This is my work. You can work with me for 12 weeks, and I will teach you everything I know.
and
Everything.
here's the other thing that I took away is when you're with someone, you have their access too, right? So as they know people, they introduce you to people, they introduce you to ideas. Like you say, everybody that works for you gets becomes aware of things that are going on, things you're learning. So it's a continuous, expansive relationship. It's not just a manual on how to do something, because we're dealing with people, we're dealing with business, we're dealing with future careers, situations like that, relationships. Why don't you want to learn from people who have taught so many people and who have really a great track record of results? Because there's a lot of talkers, but not a lot of people can come through. You know,
You have to be ready. Donald, what I tell people when they come to talk to me about working with me is you have to want this. You can't believe that you don't need anything. You can get whatever you need, right? But it's wanting, that you want to create these new beliefs, right?
well, and here's the thing. If you look at all of my opportunities, it always starts with qualify for this. Nothing's for sale. Money won't get you in with me. I've got to feel I'm going to get a benefit from the company, the relationship. You've got something to teach me. And I want it to be positive, right? You know, if you have to, you can trade time for money, but it's very superficial, and you'll trade for things you normally wouldn't have traded for if you didn't need it. And I think by getting straight with what your intention and purpose is, and, you know, knowing that it could be a relationship that continues, right? If someone's real successful, real happy, the next thing they want to do is do more. Omar's here. That's a Zoom party. Actually, me and Leslie are on a show together, a contest that Omar's putting together. I was
Yeah, it's
on.
a big payout, $45 for the
That's
win.
if you win. It's
Oh,
35
and that's for your charity.
charity. Yeah, which is fine.
It is.
I'm happy to support. So yeah, go to Omar's profile, get to know him. He's a wonderful guy, does some interesting things. You know, and a lot of you 5-10 years from now will remember back when you first met some of these people on shows like this, and you'd be amazed at where they're going to be in 5 or 10 years. You know, if what we learned in just 10 months of this show has been incredible, but what's going to happen is the next 10 months are going to really differentiate and elevate, because we really attracted a quality group of quality people, right? It's not about letters and numbers and everything else. Who are you today? Who are you to work with today? And who do you want to have fun being with today? And
that's why I do this. And I want to bring something else up about
sure.
a success mindset. Like Paul is all into gratitude. Gratitude is your high vibration, like love and generosity and sex, all of those. It's a very high vibration. Why is vibration important? Because mind is not an organ. The brain is an organ, but mind is a cellular activity. That's why when you get chills or there's a spring in your step, research has shown that the proteins move together in a high vibration in one way, and when you're dragging your feet, another. But here's something way that you can instill gratitude. It's by giving back. Now, here's the little story, the fun thing. For the last 8 years,
Little.
yeah, it is little. Remind me, you can do like this when it's getting too long. Okay. But I want to share something very fun that I'm doing this week on Thursday.
Sure.
So fun. For the last 8 years, on the first Thursday of every month, I drive about an hour to a neighboring county, Zoom during COVID, to work with the Women's Resource Center in that county. Women that need a leg up. I drive there and I teach them my stuff. Well, years ago, I took an in-depth workshop on Chinese face reading, right? It was a beginner and advanced, and this woman had lived 30 years in China. She was Caucasian, but she married a Chinese guy, and that she's written 2 books, etc. And she came to the East Coast, and I took the course. So I haven't thought about it in a long time. She has a wonderful book, but it is the greatest. It's so much fun as a conversation starter. And so this Thursday, I'm doing a presentation on the art of face reading. And basically, I will put pictures up of celebrities, just so you know that eons ago, Chinese physicians were not allowed to touch their patients. And so they began to evaluate and observe the external wrinkles and notches in our ears and purpose lines and baggy things and wrinkles here. So if you raise your eyebrows, this is your 20s, the lessons you'll learn in your 20s. So if you raise your eyebrows and you have those lines and they connect like this, right? Mine are broken. So I didn't have a lot of lessons in my 20s. But the person who has all the lines, they had a tough time in their 20s. 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. Now, the best part about it is, and these are your purpose lines, which you get, right? And don't do any plastic surgery or Botox. Here's why. Those external marks, according to Chinese medicine, are the external observation that shows the lesson you learned. And if you remove them, you've got to learn the lesson again. So I'm doing that. It's going to be so much fun. And it also allows you to look at people's, like I'm looking at your ears. So like this part of the ear, I can't remember, one side is men and one is women. But if this is age to about 3 years old right here. So if you have a notch.
Right there. Keep talking.
Okay. No problem. Say hello to your wife. So if you have a notch in your ear or a thin place, likely you'll find out from the person that, or yourself, that in the first 3 years, there was some trauma that occurred. So it's so much fun because you can look at people's widow peak. You can look at their lines. You can see their purpose line. So I'm doing that presentation, bringing lunch. And this is my give back. And this is gratitude. This is a state of mind for me. And it fills up your karmic bank account. Right? I mean, I have so many good things coming to me because I continually give. I'm always entering it. And that's how I do all these things. They're all fun. Every one of them is fun. None of them are hard.
Sounds great. I like that. And anyways, where I went.
Did you take care of business when you went?
See, this is a Chinese medicine lady.
Oh.
Ivory. And there was my wife's grandmother was a big collector. But the point of this doll or this piece is the husband would usually take this to a doctor and point to the part of the body that the person in their household was dealing with. Here's a smaller one, if you can see it somewhere. Anyway,
so that Donald, I'm so glad I brought this up because it allowed you to bring this up to, I'm telling you, this stuff is really fun, you guys.
Yeah. Now we're not here to give medical advice by any means.
No.
Want to put that in, but let's get back to the audience.
Okay.
We covered Chinese medicine.
We
I
already
want
saw this
to
for like 10 minutes.
yeah, Carl says, I try to balance. If it's to be, it's up to me. With I cannot do it all, and I need a team. And again, it's what little portions you want to start with. So if it's uncomfortable, do a little, get more comfortable, and build up.
Pick one thing. Don't
Mhm.
overwhelm yourself. One small thing. It doesn't even have to be your biggest problem. Maybe it isn't fear of criticism. Maybe it's I don't know if you guys know Mike Dooley. He puts out the
Yeah,
universe.
yeah,
Okay.
every day. Yeah,
So Mike, I met him before anybody knew him, right? And I forgot what I was going to say. Never mind.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah, move
Similarly,
on already.
you have to always practice your new way of being, or else you lose it for sure.
100%.
We have built-in forgetters. It's a constant practice to become the best version of ourselves, and that's so important, because there's days where you are, and there's days when you aren't, and nothing changed but the way you decided to look at those things in that day. And maybe it has to do with eating or exercise or sleep, where you're not taking good care of yourself, and that would help you be in a better position.
It's not me.
No, it ain't somebody looking for me. But anyways, yeah, for sure. And then Omar comes back with who will be the winner. Can you see it? I'm excited to have you guys on. Well, obviously the charities are going to make out for sure. And as far as we're concerned, I'm just going there to have fun, hang out with Omar and Leslie. So, part of success on LinkedIn is access and allowing people into your world and entering their world. And that's why I always say, I'm not going to connect with anybody I wouldn't have a conversation with. Right? And if I'm never going to talk to them again or see them, there's no reason to connect or build that up. So I think the other element is how much, like Leslie says, miracles are right in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And all you got to do is put the two together. I mean, since Bob Berg came on, I met this other gentleman. Now Bob and him may do a show.
They learned everything from me, Donald.
Well, I'm sure. But you see, they were able somehow to get the word out in a different way, to sell 1 million books or whatever. And, it just shows you, if you spend a lot of time doing one thing right, that one thing right can spend a lot of time taking care of you.
That's
right? So it's worth the investment. I mean, look at Napoleon Hill. I mean, most of what Leslie talks about is based on his teachings. He's known for that one book. Now he's done a lot of other things and did speeches and stuff like that, but that book made his legacy, right? That's what people talk about.
That's and it's the number 2 bestseller of all time, 100 million copies, with the exact blueprint to be a millionaire. And so you got to wonder, well, if there's 100 million copies sold, how come there aren't 100 million millionaires? And therein is the mystery that we're talking about for mindset, right? Can you maintain that positive spring in your step? Right. The other day, something bothered me, and usually things don't bother me, Donald, because I know what to do. So, years ago, I might be upset for a couple of days on something, and it happened again. Something happened and it brought out jealousy. Right. I mean, it's not my prettiest picture, being jealous, but if you know anything about astrology, I'm a sun and moon Sagittarius with a Virgo rising. I have to win that contest, or I'll have to shift my mindset to allow Mike or Donald to win on Zoom Party, because I have to win. And so let's just go on. Let's just go on.
Let's go on. We have to go on. And that's the key. And, I think the other thing is, don't take snap judgments of any situation. Mm-hmm. Because, I'm living in one of the sunniest places in America. We get more sun than San Diego or Miami here. But there's 50 days of clouds and 312 days of sun. Well, you can have a day or two of clouds, but if you know the sun is coming out in a day or two, the clouds are just, a divider, and it makes you appreciate the sun when you don't have it, right? Mm-hmm. Small sacrifices that are only one-time situations. Getting through the door the first time is harder then the second time, or the third. And if you just pace yourself, and I think what's required, and I think Leslie brings that with her teachings and opportunities, is having a workout buddy. That will keep you in the gym longer. If you join with a friend who's going to pick you up every other day and is really excited, now you've got an obligation beyond yourself, right? And when you're just doing it and you quit, no one's looking, no one even cares. But if you're in there with someone else and they're the ones who say, hey, blah, 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 blah. But here's the thing. Going to the gym isn't fun, but going to the gym with someone who's fun is fun.
That's right.
And then you don't care. You do a lap here, you lift a weight there, you hang out. That's what makes it fun. You know, when I went to the gym the first time, I was like, I got my out. This was like a long time ago. You get your outfit stuff, you look good. You go in there thinking like you can do what everybody else is doing, and you try to do more. And after a while, like this is painful. This is hard, right? When I got to the point where, hey, I'm just going to get comfortable, take advantage of the facilities, you know, and then it was easy because it's getting out, it's going somewhere. So most people are their own worst enemies when they set themselves up for failure, because they say, if you don't do this fast, it's not for you.
Yes. And that's why I say that everybody has to be ready. There aren't a lot of people. There's only 1, 2, maybe 3 people out of 100 that are doing this work. It's whenever you're ready. What I wanted to finish up about was when I got jealous, I came to center. So I was bothered for a couple of days, being jealous about something silly and stupid. It was an old belief, right? And I hadn't felt that in a long time. I don't need to be jealous of anybody. I'm pretty great myself. So are we all. And so I came to center. I'm in the middle of the seesaw. Thank you, Neil, for that visual. And I said, okay, Leslie, this sucks, feeling jealous. It feels yucky. What do you know to do? What do you know to think? And in that moment, I realized I was focusing on what other people were doing. And I took immediate action to create this new certification that I'm doing. I went and invested in a LinkedIn content person to elevate in the LinkedIn world how I'm seen. So if you find yourself, you know, in a low place or thinking about things that aren't inspiring, picture yourself stopping for just a second. Some people call it the power of the pause. This is where you get to exercise the muscle of reason. You have 6 conscious muscles that are moving and changing and growing all the time. Strategy is one, not to react, right? Or strategically, what do I know to do to create a success mindset? So I'm in control. This one got away with me, but the minute that I turned to my business, and I also called 3 people that I consider my mastermind to get their feedback, right? These are people I trust. There's only a few that I would share this with. And I got the most wonderful feedback. So it's really up to us. We actually can step out of that mindset, a negative mindset, a lack mindset, a poverty mindset, a sick mindset, into a success mindset. But as Christine said, you have to practice. Nothing ever reaches the subconscious mind without the principle of autosuggestion. It's how we learn in spaced, repetitive intervals over time. And if you have emotion added to it, whenever you visualize that thing you want again, the emotions stick to the visual image. So you've already generated a high feeling. So when you think about it again, you get all excited again, because mind is cellular. It's a whole body, physical experience, as well as spiritual and intellectual.
Great. Sounds so well put. And what I want to add to that, because
Please.
I understand what you're saying,
Oh,
is
good.
some people think something, other people feel something, right? So you could be smart in your thinking, but you let your feelings take over in your response. And at a certain,
Saying something positive with a negative attitude is what that sounds like.
yeah,
Like you're angry, you
well,
do have good information, but your vibration is resentful or jealous. So people, the message, the
yeah,
vibrational
but you
message,
see, that shouldn't be part of how you deliver it based on
of
jealousy,
course, of
hate, or anger,
course.
or whatever.
But
So,
we can't control those things all the time.
well,
That's
yeah,
the
but
whole idea.
you can first of all take some pause,
Yes.
especially when something is surprising,
Yes.
right? Someone says something that you never expected and it's way out of line.
Yep.
And, that backs you up because it's surprising, it's unexpected. In most cases, it's bad intent or the
And it's
question of,
it triggers you. So your survival, your old beliefs jump up and say, well, let me
yeah,
show you.
that's where the pause comes in. And
Yes.
that's where responding instead of reacting takes
Yes.
shape. So at a
And
certain
that's coming to center again because now you're consciously, present. And those miracles you have caused. Because here's the thing, if you are willing to give up being sad or feeling low and you look up, people and opportunities are showing up that take you directly where you want to go. But if you're crying in your beer and lamenting, oh, I'm a victim and why don't I have more clients and all that, those people and opportunities walk right by. And look up, find the lesson, go back to what I did just the other day is what is my why? Well, my why is to provide this material so that people grow in awareness and they are happy, healthy, and wealthy every day. Right.
well,
So that's all you have to do, really.
yeah, and the way to do that is to avoid unnecessary conflict because that will just create more challenge. And when you do the pause to a shock or a surprise,
Mm-hmm.
you now get, and you know you're going to react or respond some way. So there's no question. Is you have to qualify the activity, the words, and decide, do I have to know any more than what I just heard?
And that's the conscious part, Don. That's the come into center. That because you recognize, you caught it. Look, it happens all the time. So you can't do it all the time. Right? But it's when you catch it, you see before and you stop for a minute. When you evaluate that you're talking about and qualify, that's all conscious thinking.
Well,
That's
yeah, and I'm
real
saying
thinking.
is if you have a conscious process
Mhm.
to deal with it, which is first identify what it is. If you don't know what it is, ask a question,
Mhm.
right? Can you elaborate a little bit more and
Mhm.
help me out here? Okay, once you get all the information you need, okay, you decide, is that enough? And I could just say goodbye right now. Or is this somebody that has a relationship with you, has some reserve of goodwill, has a future opportunity, whatever the case, you may want to salvage it, right?
Mhm.
You may want to say, that's interesting. And the best thing you can do for anybody, including yourself, is this is all a surprise to me. I'm going to have to take some time to put it together. I'll get back to you, right? If you just remove yourself because it's you don't want someone to dictate the playing field, the rules, and how everything works, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
you have a right to say, okay, I don't want to say, it's like unringing a bell. If I say something, they'll never forget it, right? And is that what I want to be in the back of their mind? Is that person, maybe for good reason, but do you want to match them or do you want to be a better person? And the other
This
thing,
is a lot of analysis and analytical
well, yeah, but
thinking.
it takes a lot of experience with people to start saying, hey,
Right.
Joe is just like George was 6 years ago, right? And this is starting to fit that pattern. So now I'm starting to wonder,
Mhm.
and I need some time here, right? So everything can stay what it is until we get back together. Too many people are fast on the draw, and then it's too late, right? They shoot before they aim, and then there's no coming back to it. And I'm not saying, in most cases, it is what it is, but everything's conditional and relative to the person, to the situation. A lot of times you don't know what they just went through, right? If they just dropped a jar on their toe, they're probably not going to be the happiest person when they meet you or whatever. But, the key is when you have enough confidence in yourself, everybody's lack of confidence in you doesn't matter, right? If you're having to prove something that already is proven, you're the one who's got the insecurity, and now you're projecting it on anybody. Oh, they got me excited, I gave up. Instead of like, I gave up and was looking for an excuse to say somebody else did it. So responsibility, accountability is important. Being the better person, reserving judgment when possible. But the other thing is, when you know what you know, you got to do what you got to do, or you'll never respect yourself, right?
Yeah. As we're coming to a close here, mindset, I'd love to know for next week. Let me know what subjects you want to talk about, because this is like my area of expertise. So anybody who's in here, if you have any questions or you need distinctions, clarifications, because this information can be confusing when you first hear it, or even the second time you hear it. But if you sit with it, out of confusion comes order. That's a natural law. And the other thing I wanted to share with you, Donald, and I may not have told you before. Did I ever tell you you're my hero? You're everything I would like to be. And I get to fly higher than an eagle, because you are the wind beneath my wings.
What a wonderful Bette Midler imitation. She did have a super hit record with that.
Yes, she did.
Back in, I believe, the 80s.
Yeah.
And that's a good point that Leslie makes, is we'd love to hear what subjects you want to talk about relative to mindset. And we'd love to hear what has helped you with your mindset. So if you have a book or two that you read or was influential, share that. I mean, it's a two-way street when everybody walks on it, right? So we can only do as good as what people share with us, and we can only share what we feel we can help people with. And collectively, it'd be great to identify a lot of these tidbits or nuggets that you actually put to work and got a success story you could share from it.
Can I tell you and everybody, I've got this new thing happening in 2024. I'm very excited about.
Real quick.
Okay. December 12th at noon, Catherine Chadwick and I are doing a workshop where I will release your ability to become a practitioner with a master's certification of achievement. And you will have that with me if you work with me, and you will learn everything I learned. Plus, I will teach you how to teach the concepts, to internalize them so that you can help your clients.
Well, and maybe next week when Catherine's back with Leslie, they can both go into what their 12-12 get-together is and build towards that, because there's value here, but we have to work hard to make it happen for everybody, and everybody can help us in the same way. And, the other thing is participation is support. And, Leslie's talking about a complementary situation. So it's really time allocation that should determine participation. And I think the more you learn, the more value you have in deciding, do you want to learn more of that from these people? Because there's so many wonderful teachers here. You just got to find somebody you link up with. And the best way to do is see them respond and how they are with other people, which is what we do here every day. So I'm excited, because this could be a distinguishing and differentiating competitive advantage. So Leslie, thank you very much. Thank you, audience. Come back in 23 hours. We've got Sarah Dawkins with us, who's been with us since January. lovely person, just an angel when it comes to healing, and a positive person. So you'll do better even if you never put on the sound tomorrow. And if you put on the sound, you'll do even better. So with that said, thank you again, and can't thank you enough.